Continue with Mulefes Sappirim. We are in um, we're talking about angels. Okay, we are in it's Yom Hashmini. This book was set up to be a 30-day cycle. I believe we're in Sif Yud, right? Kosovo Sefer Vayikra, Daf Saf Dalad on base, or in the Zohar Vayikra, I suppose Michal Gimel, Daf Saf Dalad on base. Elif V'Tov Kun Ribo Bali Shushmachim Shandim Hu Shemizamrim Biyada Bayom. All right, so now keep track of the numbers. 1,650 10,000s. That's a lot. No, so you guys do the math. 1,650 times 10,000 angels of song sing before HaKadosh Baruch Hu by day. That's their position. They say the 1,650 times 10,000, whatever that number is. The malachim that sing before HaKadosh Baruch Hu by day. Velev Tov Kuf Mem Ches Vatzarim. Now at noon, it's only 1,648, substantially less, that sing before God at noon. Ve'elef V'Tov Kuf V'Tishim Ribo. No, I didn't see the Zohar inside, but I'm seriously wondering whether, one has to look this up, whether what we just read, it was 1,648 times 10,000. It doesn't say that in the text as he brings it. I'm wondering if that's what's meant, not just 1,648, period, but 1,648 times 10,000, because that's the way it is by the morning, and that's the way it's also, that's the, and that's also how it is moving forward after high noon. Velef Tuf Kuf V'Tishim Reborn is also 1,690 times 10,000. At the time, that's called Ben Harabayim, which is a mincha ktana, I do believe. Mincha time. Now, these that sing at Ben Harabayim are called the ones that cry. Right? Right, because as we know, this man of mincha is a time of din. We've had this before. I know we've discussed this topic. Yitzchak Avinu was metaken tefillas mincha. Yitzchak Avinu was midas din, and mincha is a time of din relative to shachris. Right, and that's why they're called these angels that sing in that time. Called the angels that cry. Because at that time, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is judging the Rishayim with seven rivers of fire. Yitzhak, and at that time, Yitzhak indeed awakens, because that's his man, that's his tefillah. Rishayim tzvachim b'Gehenom, and the Rishayim cry out in Gehenom. Aylanu ki panayam ki nazel. Woe for us that the day is being vacated. The day is over. It's ending. That now we have the shadows of the evening. Now we had this concept of shadows of the evening. It's when the sun is setting. So it's that's really that's the high point of the din of the time of mincha. Right now, when nighttime comes, kulam he so now these 1,648, all of them sing. V'chein bayom, right, and the same thing by day. V'chein b'chol yom v'yom, right? And also in every day and day. Akash Baruch Hu mor Avram mechayel mashita b'chol boker fisha boker shov. Boker, so also a day Akash Baruch Hu, as it were, awakens Avram Vinu, and it, in a certain sense, brings him back to life and makes him in charge of every morning, because the morning is his. Shenem Ashkem Avram Boker, and indeed he is the one who instituted Tfilas Shachris. So I mean, like I've said 100 times, I learned this with you in real time, and I rely on Rav Shlomo Al Ghazi, not just to select the Zohar, but how he wants to bring the Zohar, and how he wants to translate the Zohar. So if my understanding is correctly, this just repeats itself, and that Aaron Avinu awakens by day, and the angels of day sing. Yitzchak Avinu awakens by afternoon, and or actually, mincha time, and then those angels sing, right? And now these 1,648. It sounds like, so first of all, maybe indeed it's only 1,648, and not times 10,000. And it seems that at night, the 1,648 of the high noon, they're the ones who sing at night, and that's the rotation. The angels of high noon that sing at high noon are ones that sing at night, and by day, Avram Vinu is in charge, and by afternoon, mincha time, Yitzchak Vinu is in charge. The question that remains is, by night, where Yaakov Vinu was metaken Marav, is he in charge? It doesn't say. It does not say. And but he gave an address, Vayikra Samach Daud Beis, where you can go and look it up. But it's what it seems, that going with as he wants us to understand Zohar. So he wants us to understand the Zohar. So it's 1,650 times 10,000 sing by day. And we see from the end of the Zohar that Avram Vinu is awakened at that time also. They sing, and it's because it's the Zman of Tefillah that he instituted. At high noon, it's the way he brings it, it's only 1,648 angels, period. Right? And those same 1,640 will sing at nighttime also. But mincha time, right? It's 1,690 times 10,000, and their song is more like crying because of the time of din. And indeed, at that time, Kodesh Baruch Hu is done the Rishayim and Gehenna with 7 rivers of fire, and at that time Yitzchak Avinu is awakened. And the Rishayim are scream out, and at night again the 1,648 of high noon sing. That's their time, and by day Avram Vinu is awakened, and his angels, as what angels that are parallel to his tefillah, sing, right? And by the mincha time, Yitzchak is awakened, and the angels of the Bala Yalala, do their crying at his time, right? And also what the question remains: why, is Yaakov awakened at night? To be in charge, right? Over the 1,648 angels of high noon that sing. Then it's not brought down here. If your curiosity gnaws at you, go look up the Zohar. Vayikra Samach Daud Beis. Okay, entry Yudalf. Sefer Vayikra Daf Kuf Vav on the base, Kasas Alal the Zohar Kuf Vav on base writes, but Pasuk Ishki Kalas Elohav Chas V'Shalom, a man who Chas V'Shalom, right, curses, right, So now, if I now, this is supposed to be understood a few different ways, right? I do believe Elohim lo tekalel, that Isser, and that's why I said the word itself, is like clearly to the Isser to curse a dayan, right? Curse a judge, and so the question is, what is the context over here? So the Zohar says, regarding this pasuk in Vayikra of Dal Tesvav, of the Zohar is saying regarding it. But when I said the name, I had in mind like a dayan, like right, Elohim lo tekalel, right, which is Isser to not curse the dayan. But the Zohar is saying on this particular pasuk, ki yikalo, so pirush yikalo shem Elokim enu chayv bisa v'naschedo. So the pasuk ends off that Zohar wants to understand literally that chas v'sholem, the person cursed the divine name of Elokim chas v'sholem, and it says the pasuk just ends off v'naschedo. So Zohar says that's kind of teach interesting halacha, which I believe is the halacha, right? That a person is not chayiv on megadef if he curses anything except two. I think the halacha is just two names, Yud Kei Vav Kei or Adnus. I believe, at least according to the Rambam, if I'm not mistaken, those are the two names that are chayiv skila for megadef, right? But if the Zohar says the pasuk did you if you curse, a person would curse, God forbid, the name Elokim, he's not chayiv misa as per megadef, right? But v'nasacheto, right? But he does carry sin. Hey, he carries sin. It's not mutter. Just because not the name Havai or the name Adnos, I believe that's Shitas Rambam. Just because not any one of those two names, it's still not mutter. It's not socheto. So now there's frek the Zohar. Why is the Torah saying a heter for not a heter? God forbid, not a heter. Saying that Elokim will only be v'nasacheto as opposed to skila. Right, so I said it's like what I said, because he could claim since he cursed that name is could be an angel. Angels are also called Elohim, right? And any power, anyone who has authority is called Elohim. Like Hine Samticha Elohim Leparo doesn't mean I'm making you a deity. Paro means you're going to be a master over Paro, right? So so as it were, since there's, as it were, to quote the Bidens, there's plausible deniability that you could say you didn't mean God at all because this name is also used by other entities, right? And that's what the Zohar indeed says. Ava v'nokev shem Havaya, or I believe according to Rambam, it's not just Havaya, it's also Adnus, those two names. Most you must malitos because you can't claim nothing else is called Havaya, and it would seem nothing else is called Adon, Shem Adnos, right? According to the Shita that Adnos is also chayiv for Megadif. B'dav Kuf Zayin Omer Aleph Kosav She'en Ken a lot of recall Shumsar Shav Shem Sari Umas Haim Sham She'Akelis Brach Bertol. But now he brings from Vayter Nazar interesting halacha, right? And I did not know him. Glad we're doing this. Mefurish Zohar. It's a chiddush of the Zohar that a person shouldn't even curse one of the Sarei Umas Olam. Now it sounds like if we take this, I'm just wondering whether the Samach Mem, whose name we don't even want to pronounce, or Rahav, who I believe is the angel of Mitzrayim, or Yishmael, does that include Mamish, the ministering angels of the Umos Harashos? Taking the Zohar literally as he brings it, yes, you should not curse any of the ministering angels, even though they are the ministering angels of the Umas Olam that we don't like, right? It says because at the end of the day, these angels work for God, they got a bad job, right? Hashem has appointed them. They work for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They get the orders from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it's not befitting. It's Ein Roy L'Kal. It's very interesting Lashon. I'm relying on him to give us an accurate translation of the Zohar. That's mashma. That's not an Isser Gomer. You're not going to be over on Elohim lo tekalo, which is the mamish Isser mamish to not curse a dayan, right? You're not going to be over on that Isser. You're not going to be over on that Isser, but it's not befitting. It's not erlich. It's not a midas chasidus, to say the least. It's the opposite thereof. To curse one of the ministering angels because they serve God by His will, because these angels don't have free will. They just follow orders. It's true that their job is to care for our enemies, but they themselves are just following orders, and if I'll get the orders from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore it is not befitting to curse them. My only question is, well, this would include like the big big bad angels like the Samach Mem, and Rahav, which I really shouldn't say the name, but I do believe it's brought down. It's also could be the name of a person. These big Sarim of the really, really, really big evil guys. Not is what it says. Yeshayim, but it says, but the just it's already a lot to know that you can't be Makalo, it is not Ra'ui to be Makalo or any ministering angel of any other nation. Right, so Tzarchian, whether it be like even the Samach Mem. Now, Samach Mem also, in a certain way, is rebelled against HaKadosh Baruch Hu, not because he has free will, but he malfunctions. So maybe Samach Mem will be an exception. Yesh Lion. Okay. Over Sefer Shmos, Tav Tzadi Vav Amid Aleph, so an entry base he brings to say Zohar Shmos, Vav Amid Aleph, but Pasuk Malach Elokim Al Goyim. All right. So I said it because until the Zohar teaches me otherwise, Pasha is referring to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that Elokim, referring to God, is the king over all nations. Right. Right, and so let's see what the Zohar says. Kishem Elokim Hu Moshel Al. Waiting for the page to turn. Umasalam Velosh Hashem. So indeed it's Elokim, but the Chiddush is Malach Elokim Al Goyim. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is king of the Goyim, but only as Elokim. They only know him as Elokim. The Goyim only know him as Elokim. They don't know his special name that's connected, his infinite power and his unconditional love. V'lo Shem Havaya Shu Al Yisrael. Hashem is just king over us, over Klal Yisrael alone with the name Havaya. With the other Goyim is Malach Elokim Al Goyim. Right? To explain, Elokim is first of all Midas Hadin. He doesn't have Rachmanis on them. Also, Elokim literally means Bala Kochos Kulam. God owns all power. So, of course, he is the master over all their powers also. But, of course, the first Shas Iker, that the name of Elokim, he's with them, B'midas Hadin. They're not going to get the infinite love that we get from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, which is from the name Havaya, Ushmi Havaya alone. Even the Avos did not have their Hanhaga from the Shem Havaya. They were taught the Shem Havaya, but they did not experience the Shem Havaya. Shem Havaya is only on Am Yisrael. After we became an Am, Shenemar, Vatim Advekim Bahavaya Elokeichem. Well, because Sefer Bereshis Daf Peichas Amid Beis. So now in the Zohar Bereshis Daf Peichas Amid Beis, Tam Lamed Kor Yossi Ben Pazi, B'Shul Maisa, V'Loshen Kli Paz. That's an interesting thing, right? Why was Rabbi Yossi called Rabbi Yossi Ben Pazi? Right? So Pazi, so it wasn't because his father was called Pazi. It's a crazy name. I guess the Zohar assumes that it's not a real name, but rather B'Shul Maisa is a certain story of that Rabbi Yossi did, or Rabbi Yossi's father did. V'Loshen Kli Paz, right, Loshen of a golden vessel, Paz. So he did say either he or his father did something that was golden. Now, what does this have to do with angels? I am not sure. Okay. Yudal. V'kosar Dav Sham Dav Pe Des Amid Aleph Kosav. So also Viter and Bereshis Pe Tes Amid Aleph. It's written Shemal Cheshos Yodim Targum. Ooh. So this Zohar actually says that contrary to what the impression that we get from the Talmud Bavli, we get the impression. And maybe it's a false impression. We get the impression that Malachim do not know Aramis. They do not know Aramaic, because we know they won't deal with anything that's said in Aramaic. So Zohar is saying categorically, it's not that they don't know it, because Yodim Targum those Ayin Loshen, right? Because and the raya is that we know Yosef knew all the languages. That's why Paro says, you're the best, you're the wise guy I ever met. Paro knew all the languages, and Yosef seems to have known all the languages, and in addition to all that, Hebrew also. All right, so how did Yosef know all the languages? The Malach Gabriel, the night before he met Paro, taught him all the languages. Aramaic is one of the languages. Right? Right? So they say, that even though they know it, still, that's the halacha, is that, they don't deal with tefillah in Aramaic. Why? So Taran, we still learn, Shein Mashkir Lav Shu Ma'us Beinehem, because it's just disgusting in their eyes. So Baruch Shekivanti, Rosh Shlomo Al Ghazi says, we could reconcile this with the Gemara. The Gemara didn't say that they literally don't know Aramaic. They say they just don't deal with Aramaic. I think some of the Rishonim understood that they don't understand Aramaic. Some Rishonim, but we could reconcile this with the Gemara and say that the Gemara meant like the Zohar, that they don't touch it. Not they don't like Aramaic. Not literally that they don't understand it. They don't like it. And okay, the truth is, it's interesting. We just read Parshas Vayetze, and in my sefer on Bereshis, I have a whole piece on this. I didn't know this Zohar, or I didn't deal with it, I should say. I vaguely remember knowing this Zohar from before, or something like this Zohar, but everything I said there, which is from the Maharal, that every angel is a particular koach, and Aramaic is a blur. It's mitzasa kosh, mitzasa chol, and angels are they don't live in twilight zones. That's why ein machol seshtei shlichus. Every angel is a particular koach and only does that type of mission, right? Every malach is a particular koach, and Aramaic, as the Maharal explains, it's a twilight zone language. It's not kodesh, not chol. And angels they don't live in twilight zones. Every angel is clear on its place. And it's okay. And it's thinking out loud, just because it's Torah, so it doesn't mean that they don't understand it so much as they don't touch it, because it's not a concrete thing. It's all reconcilable. Yesh Laskim said in my Gemara. Yeah. Okay. All right. There are definitely some Rishonim and Meforshim, I should say, that took the Gemara to mean that they don't understand it. But it's saying, you don't have to read the Gemara that way. You can read the Gemara in a way that it stims with desire. Okay. Tesva. Because the Sefer Bamidbar Daf Kufnun Daud Amid Aleph. So in the Sefer Bamidbar Kufnun Daud Amid Aleph, Matcha Bin Diglei Maila V'Sidron Umarech Umesayim B'Daf Kufnun Hey Amid Aleph. So it's like mouch for 3 pages, right? The Zohar is discussing, the Degolim. Am Yisrael wanted Degolim. They wanted, flags in the Midbar, because they saw that the angels have flags. So the Zohar's Marich, in the Seder of the Degolim in Shamayim, the flags, the different flags that the angels have, and the different encampments of angels under which flag, and it goes on for 3 pages. So Amar Shehem Dawad Golim, but it said, generally speaking, they have 4 major flags. Hadel Chad Aryeh. So one degel is as a Demus Aryeh, as a lion. Michal, who Atzar the Tzabeh, and Michal is like the general, and he's on the right side, Kaidua, right side, and Aryeh are Chesed, right? And Michal is the Malch of Chesed. But degel Sheni who Nesher. So and the second one is a eagle. Uriel, who the Sa'ad Dormand is, that's Uriel, and he's towards the south. Degel Gimel Shor, and the third one is, Shor, right? The Shor, and that's Gavriel, Gavura. Shor is Din, Gavriel is Din, Gavura. Vusar Tzad Safon, that's, north, that's the Davriyadua, that Safon is Keneged Midas Din, that's why Mit Safon, Tipata Hara. And the truth is, Safon is the left side. If east is Kedem, right, you're facing east, Kedem, so north is to the left. Degel Dal Adam, and the fourth, the fourth Degel is a Dumus Adam on it, Rafal, and then the general of that, division is Rafal. That's at Tzad Marav, right, and that's in the west, and that's what we say Shechina b'Marav, right. So Imo Yesh Rafal, and with him is healing, as the name implies, Malach Rafal. Okay, we'll stop here for today. The next one I see is long and philosophically dense. Okay, so we will stop here for today.